Welcome back to Shut the Hell Up and Sell Unfiltered. You guys have probably recognized that this is not your typical industry podcast. I mean, we're cutting straight through the fluff and bringing you real, deep, intentional, and vulnerable conversations with some of the top leaders in technology channel sales. And these are conversations that are usually reserved for those late nights and long days after maybe a cocktail or two, but I'm bringing them to you here, live and direct on this platform. So today I'm joined by one of the most recognizable and, let's be honest, most photographed leaders in our space. And this is someone that everyone knows, not just for his stature in our industry, but for his infectious and relentless energy that he pours into his business and everything else that he does. I'm talking about nobody other than Patrick Oborn, co-founder of Telarus. In this episode, we're going beyond what you've read. We're going beyond the social media post. I'm going to teach you a little bit about Patrick that you didn't know before. We're going to go to his roots. We're going to talk about some of the uncomfortable lessons that have shaped him and why he believes that embracing pain is the only path to growth. We're going to also dig into the future of our industry. We talk about AI, we talk about finance, and we also talk about private equity. In this episode, Patrick gives his opinion on that, and he talks about the impact to his company, the partners and suppliers in the space. We even get personal. We're going to talk about health, family, and legacy. This episode is one part strategy session, part masterclass, and part hanging out with one of the people that I really enjoy hanging out with in our space, one of the channel's true visionaries. So let's grab a drink, settle in, let's get into it. It's time to go.
Here to show up and show out. Here to show up and show out. What? Here to show up and show out. Here to show up and show out. Yeah.
Welcome to Shut the Hell Up and Sell Unfiltered, the podcast that's not afraid to tackle the uncomfortable truths and bad habits that keep you from reaching your potential. I'm your host, Ronnell Richards, award-winning sales expert, author, and top influencer in technology channel sales. Each week, I sit down with industry influencers and top performers for bold, honest conversations that are designed to cut through the noise and deliver real, actionable advice that you can apply immediately to grow your career and boost your sales success. No fluff, no excuses, just real talk, real influencers, and real results. Let's get into it.
Here to show up and show out. Here to show up and show out. Yeah.
Welcome back to another just fire episode of Shut the Hell Up and Sell Unfiltered, where we tackle some of these big, I don't want to call them issues. We call them opportunities for growth in the technology channel. And, I just bring on just rock star leaders in the space and chop it up and have conversations that you all usually aren't privy to. These are the conversations that we have when we've had a long day. We're having a cocktail. We're just kind of hanging out, and I'm bringing everybody into these conversations. Now, Today's episode, I got somebody. I don't even need to say your name. I'm not going to say your name because everyone just knows. All they got to do is look at the hair. They look at the swoosh. They look at the lean bone structure, and everybody already knows. We got Patrick Oborn in the house today. Patrick, thanks for doing this, man.
Hey, thanks, Ronnell, man. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here. I've actually aspired to be on your show for quite some time. So I appreciate that the invite finally arrived. I feel like I finally made it in this industry.
Well, here's the thing, man.
Man.
That's the thing. Yeah, you weren't quite at a level yet. You had to check a few more boxes,
I had to glow up first, man. I had to glow up. So we finally made it, I guess.
Dude, listen, just let me first start by saying you are absolutely one of my most favorite people in this business, and it is
likewise.
Really the honor is mine to have you on this show, and especially because you know how we roll. You know that it's all about just speaking truth, man. And so that's what we're going to do. But before we get into that, like most people know who the hell you are, but I want to dig a little deeper, man. I'm going to ask you some rapport questions so we can tell people maybe some things that they Didn't know. You down with that?
I'm down with that, man. Thanks, Ronnell. Let's get it kicked off, man. Let's go.
All right. So I'm going to start with a big one. Like everyone knows you are a ass kicking, like ultra runner. Like I think your last race was like 350 miles or something like that. Like you do this stuff that just has me like, wow. And then I text you, I'm like, Patrick, what do you do for your knees? Like, how do you stay pain free? But my first question to you is, tell me something that people don't know about you. What's a hobby, a quirk, something that you do that maybe everybody doesn't know?
Something that maybe people don't know is I'm big into Boy Scouts. It's kind of an organization that was near and dear to my heart when I was growing up. I was a pretty shy little kid. It really helped me kind of get outside of my comfort zone. Really the first thing that really pushed me in my life and forced me to do uncomfortable things like sleeping in a tent on the top of a mountain in the middle of a snowstorm. That's actually where I met Adam Edwards, the president of Telarus, my other co-founder. We were in Boy Scouts together. So we were always tent mates. We were always challenging each other, trying to keep up with him on the trails. He was an excellent fisherman. So we would, sometimes we went on this 50-mile trek around Mount Whitney in California. And the whole time it was basically packing all your food. We basically eat what we catch on fishing, and everything else is just add water. It was just a lot of fun. It was very challenging. And I think the young people of today, they lack a lot of opportunity to have outdoor challenges and outdoor skills. So basically outside of work, I spend all of my time trying to get kids away from technology. So I'm kind of anti-technology in a lot of ways. And I don't think most people know that about a technology executive.
Oh man, this is not a good commercial for Telarus, brother.
We love technology for businesses. We love what it does, but man, like the effects on our kids and the gamification and the actual PhD level science that goes into making technology addicting to the point where these young brains can't process it. And they get their dopamine from technology instead of from like going mountain biking or running, or like it's a problem. And I don't think we've fully realized the level of addiction that's out there, because we haven't seen what the long-term consequences are, right? It's too early in. Like my older kids, they kind of got through at the tail end of that. Yeah. But like the kids like right now that are 10, 11, 12 years old, like I'm legitimately scared for them. Like,
Patrick, how many kids do you have?
I've got 3 kids.
How many?
I've got 3. I've got twins that are 20 years old, and I have my baby is 13 years old.
I don't know. I mean, everyone knows you live in Utah, man. Like we're expecting a whole lot more kids, and then we got to get back to work.
Seriously, man, I'm below quota. The only thing I'm below quota, and I'm just kidding.
So I'd love to talk about that for a minute, because that's a very interesting take. So, with your involvement with youth and with your own kids, like, what are you doing? What's something maybe that you recommend to kind of help them through that? Because this is something that we're all challenged with. Everyone that has kids, or that is someone that is a leader of children, whether it's nieces, nephews, whatever. Like we came through this pandemic where everyone was super plugged in. How do we get them less plugged in? What are you kind of doing through Scouts and things like that? Well,
Scouts forces us to have time on the calendar where we're going to unplug, whether we're going to go hike a mountain on next Thursday or every Thursday or whatever. But having that periodic a date on the calendar you can kind of rely on that we're doing something that day. The hard part is getting them to want to go. Like my kid mostly doesn't want to go to any of the stuff. So I kind of go. And then halfway through the activity, I see the little smile and I see, oh crap, I'm having fun. This is actually great. It's just getting over the barrier to get them out there. And that's super hard. And since I'm one of the founders of that troop, it's easy for me to say, I'm the founder, you're coming, you're my kid. But to the general rank and file parents, we've seen our troop actually grow over the last year because more and more parents are like, my kid's not getting outdoor experiences. Like they're not getting them at church. They're not getting them at school. Like, how do they get them? And, organizations like the Boy Scouts and other things. I also see parents that are very engaged in their kids' lives. They're up on the mountain with their kids. They're mountain biking with their kids. They're just doing whatever with their kids. But it's just so easy for our generation, Gen X, to just hand your kid a device or just say, just go play Xbox for a minute and I'll be with you in an hour. Like, I don't think we realize what we're doing when that happens. I mean, yes, we're getting free babysitting, but at the same time, we're creating an addiction that they may not be able to kick when they're 16, 17, 18 years old. And when they're 25 years old and living in our basement, we're only going to have ourselves to blame. So it's a problem, Ronnell. I wish I had an answer. I mean, these are just the small things I'm doing, but I don't know if I'm succeeding or not. Like,
I think it starts with awareness. You know, as Gen X, here's another thing that we do. I mean, we recognize the opportunity in technology, and we're technologists, right? This is our business, right? And so getting our kids engaged in technology, get them learning the technologies and everything at a young age has always been something that's, for most of us, that's important. But to your point, I think what gets missed in this is what's made us so successful in our lives and our business, Patrick, is our ability to connect as humans. Like, you're one of the best at this, dude. I mean, like, I don't know. You should start charging for pictures. That's all I'm saying. Like, the amount of pictures that you take, but you see what comes through in all those pictures is your genuine, like, connection with humans and how it's important to you, right? And these are some of the things that we need to teach folks. My kids in high school, they went to one of the best high schools in the state of Georgia. And at this school, like, academics, way up here, super important. But what we learned after with them going through that experience is so many kids were suffering and lacked some of these social skills. Their social development wasn't great, right? And it's those social skills, it's that social development that's going to make people successful, help them to be more successful in life, and especially in our business, right? Because we're in the relationship business in the technology channel. You've seen this, right? Like how your most successful partners and agents have an ability to connect beyond the technology, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. And here's like the paradox of what we're dealing with. The very company that produces the video games that my son consumes on a daily basis by the hour is a customer that a technology advisor brought through Telarus. So literally every hour my son spends on that thing, they make money, which increases their, infrastructure and everything else bill, which ultimately ends up through Telarus, through the partner. And I'm like, so Jake, I'm like, you have to make money on other people's time. You can't, if you're giving someone your eyeballs, like, you're the product, you're earning someone else money. You got to flip that script around. And the funniest thing that I see is when he comes to me asking me for money, and it's not for drugs, it's not for alcohol, it's for V-Bucks.
I hope not.
So he can get a new skin in Fortnite. Yeah. It's for a new upgrade on his Rocket League car. I'm like, he's spending real money in the virtual world, and he doesn't feel it. He's not learning how money works. And to your point with the social skills, I think, for me, I was forced. I was a shy kid. Boy Scouts forced me to be social. I'll never forget my Eagle project. I was putting in an 80-foot cement sidewalk down at the Little League field where I played for years and years and years, but the field was dusty and gross. And so my dad suggested, hey, why don't you build something down for the Little League? They'd probably love your help. So I went down there and I proposed it. They accepted it. We raised money at a car wash. We took all the money. We bought 4 yards of cement, and I had to call the cement company to order the cement. And my dad's like, I'm not calling, you're calling. And I was terrified of talking to strangers, much less on the phone. And it's like, hello, my name is Patrick. I'm a Boy Scout. I'd like to order some cement. What's it going to cost? Like, that conversation killed me, but man, it taught me that I can do it. I can make the hard call. I can talk to strangers and I'm not going to die. I'm not going to spontaneously combust of fear. And it made me do uncomfortable things. In fact, just yesterday we were mountain biking with the scout troop. And my son's legs, there's some uphill, so your legs start to burn and get tired. And he goes, Dad, why do you always do things that cause pain and that are hard on purpose? I'm like, that's a great question. I go, that's the $1 million question, because most people on this planet, their goal is to stay comfortable. Yeah. Their goal is to keep things the same. The people that get ahead, the people that learn, are the ones that are constantly growing, but man, that growth hurts. So unless you embrace that pain, you're going to stay the same or get worse. So I just told him, son, you're going to want to get better at this sport. You're going to want to get better at a lot of things, and it's going to hurt. But you have to understand that hurt isn't like your body telling you to stop. Okay. That hurt is not to steal a cliche, but it's weakness leaving your body. That hurt and that pain and making yourself intentionally comfortable. It's one of the greatest lessons I've learned in this business. And I think you were at the Telarus Partner Summit where we had the Iron Cowboy James Lawrence as our guest speaker. And his entire presentation is intentionally uncomfortable. And you have to embrace that, and it has to become your friend. And it kind of Goggins like in a lot of ways without the swear words and the military stuff. But you have to, make things hard so you can, you don't have to make things hard, but you have to embrace hard things so that you can improve. And I think that's where a lot of people in this business, every business for that matter, it's just a human trait in general.
So I can connect and relate to that. And I think that none of us are doctors.
Ronnell, sorry for interrupting. Bring it full circle. That feeling of I want to be comfortable. That's what this new technology is enabling. It's making people feel comfortable. It's making people sit in your chair. I'm going to entertain you for 10 hours, bro. I got you. Let's click on that button and let's go. And at the end of the day, your kid is sat in a chair for 10 hours, comfortable as suck. In fact, that movie, WALL-E, with the spaceship with all the fat people who literally the robots bring them food and they can't move because they've never really done anything. I love and hate that movie because I think it's just a harbinger into the future of what all this
Dude, every year since, I think we all look at it differently. At first it was, oh, that's cute. And now it's oh my God. Yeah, that's starting to be our reality. It's life imitating art, right?
Yeah, and the funny thing is we're technology advisors. We're facilitating this future, which is good. But it's got to get there in a responsible way.
Patrick, are we creating Skynet?
I think I think Skynet is
the robots are going to take over, and it's Telarus' fault.
Well, it's all AI, and AI is driven on data, and data is housed on servers, and servers are protected with cybersecurity, and that whole entire infrastructure of Skynet is part of what we do, ironically enough. So
it's scary.
Just 2 years ago, we thought it would be crazy science fiction crap, but when you have AIs creating other AIs, and second, third, fourth generation AIs, it's literally an arms race now. And I'm not talking about company versus company. I'm talking probably nation state versus nation state, how powerful you can get your AI, because there's an inflection point where it goes non-linear, and then it's just scary. Then you're only limited, honestly, by the amount of power on the power grid, because you're going to have more work and problems that AI wants to solve. And it's going to ask the processors to do all the processing, and processors are going to pull power. And it's how much power do you have? That's really the limiting factor now. Is it used to be processing power. It used to be how many terabytes on your hard drive do you have? Because there's a limit on the data, but now there's almost no limit on the data. There's almost no limit on the processing. The only limit is the power. Electricity, man. I never thought we'd be talking about utilities in this business, but dude, electricity is probably one of the biggest problems that a lot of people are solving. In fact, a couple of days ago at the Telarus golf tournament, I was talking to a brand new agent, and he's building a huge, massive data center in central Utah. It can be one of the biggest data centers on the planet.
Really?
Already has several different AI companies that have offered to invest in it, and he's just putting it there just for the power. For the power. And that's our limiting factor now at this point. Data centers, big clients aren't calling around saying, how much rack space and power can I get? They're how much power can I get? And that reminds me of 2012 when I was a Bitcoin miner, because all we would do is call these data centers saying, hey, we got a couple hundred servers. We need 5 racks. Dude, what's your cost per megawatt? And back then, cost per megawatt, man, anything above a kilowatt would blow.
Patrick, you're stealing my thunder. We're going to get into this, buddy, because this is I want to get your perception on the future and where we need to be going and what people need to be thinking about. Before we do, I need to take a step back in the past. What you guys have built is just so impressive. And, you are one of the, major leaders and certainly the top player in our space. And I want to know from you, you're young, you're spry, you've got a lot of things to do, but I want to know what you want your legacy to be in this business. When it's done here, whenever that is, What do you want when people say your name? What do you want them to think? What do you want them to feel? What do you want to be known for?
That's really good. My primary thing is known for someone who cares about your business. Like, I could say a lot about things I've done, like created GeoQuote, created the concept of pass-through. Didn't exist until I came up with it, because honestly, the programming I was writing for Telarus wouldn't allow for anything else. The concept of Telarus Partner Summit, the concept of Telarus Unit, like, I built a lot of cool things, right? But the one thing that I want to be known for is that I helped thousands of people create and run their own businesses, which open their lives to new opportunities. Like, when you have and operate your own business, like, you're the captain of your happiness ship. And the ultimate thing in life is happiness, and you can't buy it. You got to earn it. And the way you earn it is by doing hard things, like going out and taking risk. And when you're taking risk, you need to know that you're working with a company that freaking appreciates that, because, like, for example, Adam and I and Richard, for over 15 years, our houses were collateral. If this thing didn't work, like, we're all smiley today, like, right. But if this thing didn't work, Ronnell, we're homeless. Like, we had $1 million house with like a $5 million line of credit. Explain to me the math, dude. If we default on the 5 million line, we lose the house and we're still 4 million in debt. So it was an intensely scary thing, but we made those sacrifices so that we could be in control of our own lives. And we have the blessing of running a company who in turn helps other people have that same freedom. And I know it sounds cliche, freedom, you got Braveheart, all that stuff, but like, giving people the controls to their own life is really what this is all about. And even with the consolidation, everything that's going on, our literal product is helping people. And I don't know how many people come home from work every day saying, I helped some people pay some bills today. It was awesome. And getting emails from people, meeting them at Partner Summit. And you say, oh, it's so easy. It's a people business. But man, when you're basically locking horns with people and sharing the commission with them, we're their literal partners. And when you see your business partner succeed, like, there's no better feeling on earth than that. Like, it's better than the paycheck that you get. And so I want to go 6 feet under, knowing I helped a lot of people live a pretty freaking awesome life.
Where does that come from? That commitment to people, where does that come from for you? Like, where did it start?
Before Telarus, I was part of a company called Cognigen. And their VP of sales was a man by the name of Troy Carl. And he was also a Baptist minister. So we went places, and before we went on stage, we started with a prayer, and he would pray over the different people that we were talking to, that they could, also get control of their life and stuff. And he, just by example, kind of showed me what it was like to be a businessman that gave a crap about his flock, so to speak. And so that was kind of the experience I had. I went around the country. I taught people how to do search engine optimization. I taught them how to build websites. I taught them how to integrate all of our telecom products into their site, how to get their links correct so they got credit for their sales. That's kind of where I started. So it was kind of started out as a labor of love. And he was a big proponent of Zig Ziglar, who always said you can have anything you want in life as long as you help enough other people have what they want first. And so that's kind of where it started. And that was before Telarus started. So when Adam and I got going, I basically said, dude, we're gonna move a lot of technology product, and we're gonna help a lot of people out of situations that they're currently in, and we're gonna help them improve their lives. We're gonna help them get control of their life. But in the process, man, we're going to make money too. And we're going to grow with these people together. It's really one of those rising tide floats all boats. And like I said, not everyone gets to come home from work every day thinking, hey, I helped a lot of people today. I mean, you changed oil all day. Well, you helped a lot of people's car not break down. You're a doctor all day. You come home saying, I saved 15 lives today. I mean, there's a few professions out there where you come home and you can look in the mirror and say, man, I did good in the world today. And this is also one of them. It's like, we're not just processing commissions. We're not just doing escalations. We're literally helping people at the core of their life have that freedom and ability to go to their kids' summer camp if they want. If they want to take their wife on an extended anniversary trip, do it. Like, that's like, honestly, Facebook is my favorite thing in this business, because that's where I see the people I work with living their lives. And that's my reward. And I don't know. I love it. That's what, that's
I love it, man. Thanks for sharing who you are, not just what you do. And I think that's I know it's important to me, and it's important to so many other people out there in our business. Like, I believe that I try to lead that way, and I see that from you as well, because I think that we should be intentional about the people that we choose to do business with. With all that you said and that vulnerability that you shared, it shows a connection with some, and with some there might be like, oh, I'm out. I don't like Patrick. That's fine too. Right? It's all about building deeper connection and being intentional with who we do business with. So thanks for sharing that, man. So it's time. I don't know if you're ready for this, Patrick. This is the moment everyone's waiting. This is what they're waiting for. They're like, okay, Patrick's my guy. I dig him. Okay, now Ronnell, let's get into the business. You travel the country and the world speaking to partners and suppliers and leading the charge to grow our industry. And so I want to ask you, like, what do you think some of the top challenges are right now to us and to growing our business and to continuing on this great legacy that you and so many others have started?
Yeah, I think right now there's a big rush to scale. People are either in a hurry to sell or they're in a hurry to get big. They feel like where they're at isn't going to cut it. And I kind of think that's wrong. I think where you're at is great. I don't think people need to be so focused on growing so fast. I don't think they need to be so focused on getting out of the business fast. Telarus has really, in focusing on the future, like our future is our partner's future. So what's our partner's future? Because we share the same destiny as them. And some of our partners have been here for a long time, and they're looking for a graceful exit. And the cool thing is they have customers that they love and they're best friends with, and the neighbor down the street who gave them some circuits and all this stuff. And they don't just want money. They want their friends and customers taken care of. So what kind of a solution would we have for that? Well, selling a business to a massive company may not be the best solution, because like your customers aren't going to get the love and care that you gave them. It might be best to partner with another advisor that may be your same size, kind of a smaller to mid-level shop that can give them the TLC, but then that lacks capital. The acquiring partner needs capital to get the selling. The partner A needs cash from partner B, but where does partner B get out the money? Partner B is getting his residual commission, but where does he get 30 to 40 months of commission that he can drop on agent A to get him out of the business and create a graceful exit so that the customers are happy, the acquiring partner's happy, the guy who got bought out can go fishing because he's freaking deserves it. He earned it. We helped him build it, and there he is, needs to go and realize the fruits of his labor in retirement. And so there's that picture. There's also bigger companies that do want to scale and grow now. They need AI engineers on staff. They need a couple of new sales reps. There's all these opportunities. And so I would say the biggest impediment to our business is literally access to cash. Like cash is king. And that's where Telarus, we struggled for the first 15 years, man. We bootstrapped this. So you know what? If we wanted to spend more money, we had to wait a year until our commissions grew enough that we could then take advantage of that opportunity. We couldn't just go into mountains of debt because banks don't understand our business. Banks are like, you don't have any collateral I can lend you against. You don't have a building. You don't have assets in a warehouse. You don't have receivables because you don't build a customer on your paper. Like what? Like help us out. So Telarus is kind of morphed into a pretty large finance company, and it's really funny that a technology company is a finance company, but it's the financial aspect of this business that helps facilitate all of the transactional products that are coming down the pike, whether it's mergers and acquisitions or someone needs a ton of hardware for security to put in order to get the MRR. There's always this barrier where cash is a hurdle to get into a deal. Cash is a hurdle to acquire another entity, or cash is a hurdle to get acquired. There's all these things, all these moving parts that are moving around. And 10 years ago, Ronnell, we would never would have thought about this. We're thinking about what new tool can we create, a fiber lookup system, an AI where I can ask it about Zoom versus Ring Central, and it gives us all the breakdowns. Like that's kind of where our minds were at. Like let's focus on selling technology, but in reality, it turned out to be financial. A lot of people just have not been thinking about that. In fact, it was Mark Blanchard, who at the time was working for Integra Telecom, one of our suppliers, he said, since you guys are receiving all this commission, it'd be really cool if maybe you use that person's commission as collateral to lend them money. You could lend partners money. And we're like, that's not a bad idea. Like, let's look into that. Because most lending companies, they focus on the Ingrams and stuff, and they do like lease financing on equipment. But no one really understood that we have money too. It's just like we won the lottery and we're getting $1 a month for the rest of our lives. Like, can I just get a check for $1,000, please? And then call it good. Like, and JG Wentworth, and there's a whole cottage industry of people that make money by exchanging residuals for upfronts. And so by really sinking our teeth in, investing in that area, hiring really focused people that are really, really good at finance that honestly don't understand technology at all, and that's okay. But helping our partners from a financial perspective has been really, really fun because, again, we've always been focused on the technical perspective. Let's get sales engineers in here like Josh Lupresto and those guys. We're going to help you close big deals. Let's get more software tools in here so you can do research on Sunday night in your pajamas and make sure that you're ready for that meeting on Monday with your big client. And let's make sure we get you paid correctly. Let's get some technology in here that audits your commissions and does all this fun stuff. Like, it was always that was the focus. But in reality, the last year or so, like the business has been unlocked. And I think in the future, it's going to be even more so. I think the impediment to growth is going to be financially related. And on the supplier side, if like looking into my crystal ball, it's really interesting to see Amazon as a really, really good harbinger of what's to come. On the Amazon marketplace, you can get a lot of things. A lot of people host their data in AWS, and a lot of people have quotas in AWS, and AWS will give you credits for purchases of other products you buy in the Amazon Web Service marketplace. Mm-hmm. And so they're bringing in network providers. They have companies like Genesis that host on the AWS platform. And if you get Genesis, that also retires. And so you're basically seeing these, call them technology clubs getting together. And this is the Google club, and this is the Amazon club, and this is the Microsoft or cluster. And it's really interesting that outside of technology and outside of budget, now you have politics that are like kind of the equation. It's like politics. Well, yeah, if you get Genesis, you should probably get AWS cloud storage too. And then they've got a special discount. And it's like this bundle and save concept, but all these little clusters are kind of forming up. And that, again, creates more opportunity for advisors to know some things that maybe their clients aren't fully recognizing. They're just getting information from the CFO. You need to save money. You need to do this. You need to do that. Where the advisor now, it's like a 5D, 6D puzzle that we can put together for clients. So it's a very exciting future where it's not just knowing the tech, it's knowing the politics, it's knowing the financial aspect of the business, and really being a more well-rounded advisor. And the TSDs like us, for example, we're making investments now so that when advisors have those questions, we could be able to help them answer those, help them have the money to do those things, help them have those political conversations, because our people understand the politics. We go to the Amazon trade show, we go to the Microsoft trade show, we go to the Google trade show, and we are learning constantly about those different areas so that our people aren't just pulled in 1,000 directions all the time.
So, Patrick, I want to talk about the banks and the money and all that a little bit, because it's something that's top of mind for a lot of folks. Like the conversations that I have with various folks, a lot of partners out there, everyone's been really excited about the interest that the outside world has taken in our business, right? Absolutely. And in some ways, the credibility that it's given us. Yeah. But there's also a fear too. People are concerned about that. Does it change our business? Does it change the way that Telarus or other TSDs operate? And to those folks that have fear about, outside investment and just like, our world changing, what would you say to them?
I said the world's changing. It's changing. So what do we do with change? We figure out what that change is going to look like, and we use it as an opportunity to come out on top. And when I say things are changing, partners want more pass-through, just straight up. So what happens when you're running a business and your customers want a better deal, and then your employees are like, well, I've been here for 5 years. I want double the salary, or I'm leaving. So you kind of feel like the snake is kind of eating you from both sides. And so what has to happen? well, we have to reduce our expenses so that we can afford to pay people more, so that we can afford to pay employees more, and recognize their value. And so what ends up happening is we have to cut costs. So what does that mean? That could mean offshoring, nearshoring. It could be refinancing our debt and really hunkering down to maybe cut our interest rate in half on the money we borrow so that our interest payments go down or whatever. But it's an all-encompassing strategy that really makes TSDs kind of look hard at themselves and figure out who are we and what can be cut and what's core to our mission and can't be cut or basically even enhanced. But it's good. It forces us to stay streamlined. It forces us to ask ourselves questions. Should we be doing this? It forces us to ask the hard questions of, do we need to do more of this, less of this? Is this department really necessary? And honestly, that's healthy business at the end of the day. The businesses that are kind of like the family shops, like we're family, blah, blah, like, yeah, but 20 years from now, like your family members probably aren't going to have the skills and knowledge to do what the industry needs you to be doing. Like we have to evolve. Our partners are evolving. Our employees are getting smarter and better. Yeah. And we as a company have to follow suit. And so it's really hard. And it's not the TSD that sells more. Like it's just such a different world. And that's why we're so excited to have the financing line of business that we do. That's why we're excited to have the main line of business that we do with sales engineering and sales enablement and everything else and everything in between. Because I think it helps each other. It benefits. But all of that really wouldn't be possible without our capital partner, Columbia Capital. Like when we get these loans, we get really aggressive interest rates that are very, very good. We would never qualify for those without Columbia Capital. Like we couldn't get the money to help all these partners buy each other and everything else and facilitate. Our finance department wouldn't exist without Columbia Capital because they gave us some recommendations. They bring ideas to us that they see when they go out and talk to people. I mean, the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Norway is invested in Columbia Capital. So they have access to capital and access to resources that Telarus we would never know about. And people think that private equity, all these guys are coming in, they're going to take over the company, they're going to fire everybody, they're going to lever up the company and just squeeze us for cash. Like that's absolutely not the case because this is a residual model. Right. And when we jack with stuff, our residuals instantly get screwed. And those residuals are so valuable to us that we have more of a long-term perspective. If you're just like a manufacturer or something where you're just turning and burning, like private equity could be, a 4-letter word in those type of areas. But in our world where relationships and residual commissions are at play and our financial incentives are aligned with a long-term human relationship, like jacking with that stuff just doesn't make sense. And they understand that. And they bring us, like I said, not only ideas, but they bring us personnel suggestions. They bring us industry data that is not public. They bring us, and more importantly, access to capital and more importantly, debt that we could never qualify for otherwise. Because, so they're definitely an enablement tool. But to your point, it does foster change. Like when we report to them what we're doing, they say, why do you even have this department? This department's killing you. And we're like, yeah, it's hard conversations, Ronnell. Like when you have someone who's that sophisticated looking at your business, you can't hide stuff that's not working. You can't hide it. And when you're a family or privately closely held business, you can kind of say, yeah, but I like that guy. He's cool. Let's just roll with that for another year. But when you have people who are primarily motivated by numbers and cash, like the bad actors and the bad departments in your company can't hide. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. It makes us better, but it is change. It's change.
Well, I appreciate the transparency, and I think that's what people want, Patrick. Whether it's your partners or your suppliers, like they want to know where you're headed. They want to know some of these things that can be potentially scary to them. That I think it's best that we attack it and address it and say, hey, listen, this is where we stand. This is where we're going. And change is inevitable, man. So it's either you lean into it or you die.
Distance, Ronnell, and now we're consulting on AI projects.
Isn't that crazy? Bro, no, serious. That's crazy. Think about where you started. Now, this leads to my and
the same skills apply. The same skills apply.
I so much appreciate the time you spent with me, and I want to be respectful of it. But this last question is super important to me and and very important to the rest, dude. You're a futurist. Like, that's how you got from there to here. And so as we look at these next few years, the next 5 years from a partner perspective, I'd love if you could share maybe some best practices. What are some of the things that, and we're speaking specifically to partners out there, what are some of the things they should be thinking about? What are maybe some of the things they should be doing in their business that are going to help them to not just survive, but thrive in these next few years?
Number one, reposition your goddamn self. You're talking to the IT guy, you're talking to procurement, and that's where you've made your living for the last 2 decades. You got to get into the C-suite, like have a picnic, like take someone to a ball game, whatever. You got to get around your IT guy to the guy who's the CEO who cares about the damn business, because financially speaking, you're going to be playing a role in his life. From a security perspective, from a business strategy perspective with AI and what it can do for their business, like that's not the IT guy's decision anymore. If you don't reposition, all these new products and new solutions are going to pass you by because the IT guy you're talking to doesn't give a crap. He's just taking marching orders from the C-suite. And until you can get into the C-suite, right, you have no future in this business. And it's funny because you see guys in this business that are not as technical, not as good, but they're best friends with the CEO. And those dudes are going to President's Club. Right, the guy who used to do all the circuits and do all that hard manual labor and bring the price quotes and stuff, man, that guy is not in President's Club anymore. Because you know what? The amount to get to President's Club has gone up because the average MRR per sale has gone up because the sophistication of the sale has gone up and the stickiness of the sale has gone up. But you know what? The business conversation is also elevated. And tell people, you can go to all the trainings you want, Telarus University, all these great things. But man, until you can have the conversations you're learning how to have with the right folks, it's not going to happen. And so people, they need to reposition. They need to use the supplier's money. What do I mean by that? Suppliers are out there. They have like these not so secret MDF funds. And if you want to get 16 CIOs in a room and fly a Telarus engineer out to do an AI presentation and bring a couple of AI vendors, those AI vendors will absolutely sponsor your event, right? You just have to know to ask. A lot of people are like, I didn't know we could do that. I didn't know we could take some CEOs axe throwing, or I didn't know I could take some CEOs, clay pigeon shooting or whatever. Dude, you have to get in front of those CEOs, whether it's golf, whatever. Like you have to adjust your strategy. You can't just be these calls saying, hey, I want to talk to the IT guy. Like that's old and tired. And really that's the future, because the technology we're talking about now, it encompasses their power. Like, can I save money on electricity? Can I save money on water? Can I save money and apply all those savings to the tech that I need to participate in this future, because their competitors are trying to figure it out. And technology advisors are now more, in fact, in our last tech trends report, man, it's, Telarus partners should go to their back office and download it right now. But it shows you all the different things that CIOs are thinking about. Cost savings is a major one, but it's also kind of this fear of the future. Like they want to know that my job is safe. Well, my job isn't safe unless I'm using technology in a way that helps my company win. So their jobs are literally on the line. And then one thing that a speaker he's one of the major contributors from Stanford on the Tech Trends report that Telarus put out. He's like, use LinkedIn. You guys ignore LinkedIn. He goes, here's one little nugget. He goes when you want to reposition into the C-suite, he goes, go look on LinkedIn and see who the CEO is. More importantly, look and see how long he's been at the company. If he's been there less than a year, cost savings is probably the board's initiative that he's got to get done. Okay. If he's been there more than 2 years, like maybe in his second year, okay, cut cost savings, but he also has to have an eye to the future, right? Like where are we taking our product? Where are we taking things? And if he's in year 3, then you can talk to him about long-term, like lifts and shifts and everything else. But the guy's not really concerned about all this strategy if he's in year 1, because his mandate is to cut costs. Like you're having the wrong conversation with the right guy, right? So find who the right guy is and have the right conversation with the right guy, and use LinkedIn as a tool and use his tenure in his current position as one of the key indicators of what you should be talking to him about. So I was like, mind blown. I'm glad that you partnered on it.
That was fire, man. And now you inspired another course. I'm going to create a course. That was fire, Patrick.
Thanks,
You know what? And
original content right now. I wish it was original.
I got a bonus question for you, and then we'll end on that. My bonus question is: I know how much fitness is important to you, and health, and so and you know me, it's super important to me, and I believe it's a critical part of the mix to success in life and in business. Give me one little tip that people can maybe apply out there to help themselves in their journey to fitness and business success.
All right. For a lot of years, for probably 10 years, I worked out, and I got really good, and then I plateaued. I think all of us in life hit a plateau where you get really good gains early because, dude, just doing hard work in anything, you're going to see pretty fast improvement. But all of us hit a plateau. Don't be afraid to hire a coach. Don't think that you know it all. Don't think you can YouTube it. Like, hire a person who comes into your life, can look at your life from a third-party perspective, call you on your bullshit, and help you fix stuff. When I hired a trail running coach after 10 years, you would think I would know some stuff. I hired a guy who had won 24 races. He came in here, and Ronnell, you know what the first thing we did for the first 2 months? Diet. I'm like, I thought I was hiring a running coach. I didn't hire a dietitian, and he just got rid of sugars, man. Outside of workout. Inside workout, we use sugars to fuel, but outside workout, he's like, dude, you got to kill it. And I'm like, yeah, but I like cereal. I like muffins. I like stuff. He's like, yeah. Do you like going fast? Do you like running without your legs hurting, or do you like sugar? Because if you use sugar, you're going to keep your body consuming carbohydrates for fuel all the time. And that creates a ton of byproduct. That byproduct gets in your muscles and it makes you sore. He's like, if you get off of sugar, right, your body becomes more fat adapted. He goes, fat burns clean. It runs like a Tesla. It doesn't create all those free radicals that accumulate in your body. So if you want to get to mile 80 without sore muscles, right, that means you can't produce the free radicals, which means you have to burn fat, which means you have to be fat adapted, which means you can't eat sugar. So it's like, so he had me read a book, but it was just, not eating sugar is
that book?
Generally good thing. It's called Primal Endurance by Mark Sessions. Primal Endurance. I would recommend everyone read that book. It does talk a lot about working out. It's actually done by him and Mark Allen, who is back from the 80s, dude, a world famous triathlete. And they published this book of it's scientific data from dietitians, people who are exercise physiologists from the 70s and 80s. And the reason why it doesn't get more play is because it's not very friendly to all of these billion-dollar goo companies and everything else you see at these races. It's pretty critical of them, as a matter of fact. But it teaches you what your good foods are, your good starches, your bad starches, all these different things, and what it does inside your body. And then once you learn what happens, it's easy. But having an outside person hold me accountable. Like, I paid him $200 a month or something. It was online. Like, he looked at my workouts on my phone. And he would call me saying, hey, what happened yesterday? It looks like you didn't get that thing done. And, oh, sorry. But when you know somebody is watching you, it's just not you just kind of, I'm going to hit the snooze button today. Like, I'm not feeling it. If you hit the snooze button, bro's going to know. Your coach is going to know, because your data is not going to show up like it usually does. But asking for help is something that a lot of us are just not very good at. And bringing in experts into our lives, coaches, mentors, I think a lot of people overlook that, and that's probably my one life hack.
Dude, that's inspiring. And
because you get and we hire mentors. Like, you think, oh, he doesn't get a mentor. Like, dude, no, I couldn't have gotten through Cocodona. I couldn't have done all the things I've done in Ultra without my coach, Jeff.
Drop your coach's name one more time.
Jeff Browning.
Jeff. Shout out to Jeff.
AKA Bronco Billy. So
Bronco Billy?
Bronco Billy is his running name. So people,
love it. Patrick, this was it was truly a joy, man. And I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me, share this great information and a little vulnerability as well. We learned something new about you, got some insight into the future. And all I can say, dude, is I'm just so grateful and thankful to have you as on the show, but as a friend as well. And appreciate you, man. Keep inspiring people.
Thanks, man. And you, Ronnell, man, it's an absolute pleasure being on your podcast. Congratulations on all your success, the success of your book. Man, you're inspiring. And every time I see you at an event, man, it always brings a smile to my face, man. You radiate positivity and you fill up buckets, man. Keep up the great work.
Thanks, brother. All right. Have a great rest of your day, folks that are wherever you are in the world. We appreciate you. Thank you for being part of this journey. Make sure that you're sharing it, you're liking and commenting, all those good things. If you get value from this, tell people, because sharing is caring. Till next time. Peace. Thanks for tuning in to Shut the Hell Up and Sell Unfiltered. If you found today's conversation valuable, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review the show. For more resources, including gap assessments, custom sales consulting, or online courses designed to take your sales game to the next level, visit me at ronnellrichards.com or head over to sayless.academy. Until next time, remember, stop talking, start listening, and shut the hell up and sell.
Here to show up and show out. Here to show up and show out. Here to show up and show out.